Hey, and welcome to the Jessica Paul podcast. I'm your host, Jess Paul, actress, manifestation expert, and mindset coach. And I'm here to share with you all of my secrets on confidence, success, and the magic of manifestation. If you're ready to dive in deep and see more success in your career, more money in your bank account, and more love in your life, with a whole new level of freedom, then you're in the right place. I'm letting loose on everything you need to take back control of your life, up-level your mindset, and tap into your manifestation powers. I'm so excited that you're here. Hey, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the JP podcast. It is I, Jess Paul, here to help you manifest your dream life. And for today's episode, we've got some other guest speakers on, some gorgeous souls. Again, ladies I've been following for a while. But before we go into all of that, I'm just going to do a quick sponsor again at the start of this episode to let you all know that it is our final week of the Success Momentum Coffee Mornings. These are free events that have been going on in my private Facebook community for the whole month of November. These are your opportunities to come and sit down with me on a level and chat all things law of attraction and manifestation and spirituality. But this week, guys, this Sunday at 10 a.m., which is when they've been every week, I'm going to be announcing something really special. I can't wait. And I would love for as many of you guys to be there as possible for that announcement, because we've got something really exciting going on at the end of this month inside my private Facebook community again, and I would love for you all to be involved. So to come and join us, just hit the link in my show notes and I will be there with you all on Sunday from 10 a.m. onwards to announce something very exciting. Right, guys, so for today's episode, I am joined with the fabulous Grace and Abby from the Finding Your Feet podcast and self-development platform. Grace and Abby are dedicated to helping you get closer to your true authentic self by helping you find your feet in life. They are committed to accelerating your mental health towards new heights, bringing you empowering conversations on topics such as self-love, wellness, and mindfulness, as well as offering life-changing advice from interviews with renowned experts in the wellness and mental health field. Again, it's been great to get these ladies on to chat because I've been following them for a while, and we both set our kind of businesses up at the same time without really realizing that they were going to turn into what they've really turned into. And it was during the pandemic of 2020. So in this episode, we do talk a lot about and we reflect upon this pandemic and the energy shifts that we've had there. And it's a really nice episode because we really strip things back and we talk about helping you find peace in your mental health, which, as we know, guys, is your foundation for success. So remember, if you can't be loving yourself and respecting yourself and showing yourself that care and love, then the universe is not going to reward you with all of the amazing manifestations that you want in life, right? So this is a really important episode, and I hope that you all enjoy it. And of course, if you do, share it on your social media platforms, tag me in your Instagram posts, share it with your friends, with your family, anybody that you think would love it too. And we can't wait for all of your feedback. So without further ado, guys, I will hand you over to the Finding Your Feet ladies. How are you guys doing?
We are very well. We're good. How are you?
I'm great. No, it's great to have you on because I've been following you guys for a while, and your ethos and energy and everything is just exactly how I live my life as well, and helping so many people. And you've had such an amazing journey and business progression and just life progression. So I would love to just hear about who you are, so you can tell everybody who you are and what you do and a little bit about your journey, just to start off with.
So I'm Grace.
Abby.
We always feel so weird when we jump in that. But yeah, we are the hosts of the Finding Your Feet podcast and co-founders of the self-development platform, just Finding Your Feet. so we do weekly episodes on our podcast. That's where our main community is built from, and we talk about everything. We talk about everything to do with mental health, emotional well-being, spirituality, like everything that you would need to know to help you find your feet in life, to navigate your life, career, relationships, like self-belief, everything. We talk about it all. So our community is mainly grown from that, but we host like online, hopefully in the future we'll do them in person as well, but like personal development workshops. We do ones about like self-love, and kind of like just self-belief, things like that, really confidence building workshops, where we bring together our community, and we are like experts in affirmations. So we have a range of like affirmation playlists on our website, and like meditations and things like that. They're all specific for, whatever you're finding your feet in goal is for your life at that time. There's tools and things that you can get from our website or our podcasts, to basically support you on your personal growth journey, and so like just help people set new standards for their life and their well-being, to raise the bar, to just raise their just think bigger, and then also then giving them the tools to like have the confidence to take the action on those bigger thoughts.
Because I guess it's always the energy and the action, and a lot of the time we can put a lot of energy into it, can't we? But then actually taking the action is another step, and it's like another level. So I mean, it sounds amazing. How did you get into it all? Like, how did you start this journey? Because for me, like, I mean, people have heard my story a million times, but for me, I went through quite a bad time, and I kind of fell into a little bit of a hole of despair for a while. And I had to do a lot of figuring out. But I think for me, really, the pivotal moment was when my ex-boyfriend left me, and I was kind of on my own. And I was like, no, I'm going to have to do this on my own now. And I'm going to have to figure this out, find my feet. and that was my moment. But for you ladies, when was it that you kind of really started this journey?
So in terms of like both of us, we've always been really into self-development, and we both met at college. I think how many years ago was it now? Like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've always been into like that kind of like self-development vibe. I think both of our reasons for it came from kind of like different areas. So like I was mainly, I think, into it because of the mental health of my father. It like for all my life, I kind of watched him really struggle with his mental health. So I always had this deep thing within me that I wanted to take control of my mental health. So that's where my kind of interest came from. But when I really do think about it, like you just said there, I think diving deep into like my own self-love journey did come after things like breakups and like the little wobbles that you have when you really have to pick yourself back up. And I think just like learning and developing and diving into like books and stuff like that just kept me on that self-development vibe until we did eventually think we need to just start something. I think sometimes you learn so much about things and you think, I can't just keep it within myself. I mean, Grace, like we need to start something and just like put it out to the world, because surely everything we're learning can help other people. So then we came together at the start of lockdown and started our podcast. But when I really think about it, like why I'm into it and where my journey began, it was from kind of wanting to take control of my own mental health, and then also like building resilience just through things that I've gone through in life.
Amazing. And what did people think actually when you guys first started speaking this? Because you said there, there comes a point where you don't want to just keep it inside anymore about all the stuff you've learned. Like you want to make changes in other people's lives. And, that was my motivation for starting my business as well, was that, it helped me. Everything that I teach within manifestation and the processes I teach literally transformed my life. So I was like, well, then it can help everybody else, right? However, I did also come across like, I guess what I teach as well can be controversial to some people that have never heard of this, not in this industry, don't not in this kind of community, don't really understand it, can be a little bit confusing. And I did have some people kind of be like, what are you doing, Jess? Like, you're different, but like, who are you, right? This is like a big thing for me, because when you do kind of find your feet and figure out who you are authentically, it's different to some people that have known you for years. And I did, have even family members that were just confused by the transformation. Was there anybody like that when you started this and started really truly showing up and speaking out and everything? Did you ever have an experience like that?
No, we didn't actually really. Like, we've I think we started the podcast because the amount of knowledge that we had on self-development and self-love and finding your feet was literally just pouring out of us. I was just annoying people in my life, wanting to talk to them all the time about all this, like, this can change your life and all these things. Like, because when you like get into it and then you put it into your own life and it changes your life, you're like, you just want to talk about it all the time. I was like, I need an outlet for this. So that's like why we started the podcast. We just had this deep desire to share. Yeah, but I don't know. We've not really had anyone being like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Or
I just see like some little maybe signs of jealousy, but I think as well that just comes from like, if you're doing something, you're highlighting to them what that maybe they're not doing, what they want to push to do. But no, we never really had anything specific, did we?
Yeah. And at the time that we actually started it, because it was when we started Finding Your Feet, it was in the first lockdown, and like everyone was at home, and it was actually such a period of transition for like the whole world, because I think everyone was starting to think, oh, I don't actually think I like my job anymore, and I'm not sure if I want to be doing this path, and I'm not sure if I want to be in this relationship or living in this city or wherever. And everyone started to change what they were doing anyway. So it was around that time. But to be honest, anyone that wasn't necessarily supportive and was like, what are you doing? I'd left them behind.
Totally.
Like as I move forward, and they are not in my life anymore. So I think that's really important to do that, because
it's so important.
You're always going to change in life, and especially when you're changing because you're leveling up and you're becoming a better version of yourself and you're growing. Like, you can't shrink, you need to keep going, like you need to keep expanding. So having people around you that support that is so important. And if you have anyone that doesn't, then you do just have to let them fall aside.
And it's part of the transformation, isn't it? And I found that as well. It's actually funny because you touched upon 2020 and the pandemic. I wanted to ask you a question about all that as well, but during that time it was almost like a cleansing period for so many people, and I just obviously set my business up in the same time as well, when a lot of people were kind of, again, just so confused. I kind of put my head into it, and I was like, at the end of the day, as an actress as well, myself, my industry kind of crumbled. So I was like, at the end of the day, I've got nothing to lose. And it was just interesting to see who stayed in my life at that time and who didn't. And the kind of, again, that natural progression of up leveling, it always has that side to it. But I did want to ask, because 2020 was such a pivotal year for so many people, like you said. What were the biggest lessons that you had? Obviously you set the podcast up then. What were the biggest lessons and maybe the biggest challenges that you faced in that time?
I think maybe firstly my biggest lesson, which is probably something really simple, but I think that kind of like less is more. I think in lockdown, especially like right at the start, I realized how like stripping it back and having way less can actually bring you more peace and more happiness. Like, we're always searching for kind of more when we're on like our paths, our career, what do we want? We're always looking for more. And then when we were stripped back of everything and locked in our houses, a lot of people did go into meltdown, but then I think a lot of people actually found peace within themselves. And that's something that I think we both did. Went through a really beautiful process. And I think if I never had that time in lockdown, I probably wouldn't look back at it now and think, oh, well, Abby, if you're a bit stressed out, strip it back, come back to less. So I think, that was probably my main thing that I learned within that lockdown period.
Yeah, because I'd interested to hear actually what you think now as someone who started their, self-development business in lockdown. Like, now that obviously the UK is all open now, like there isn't any restrictions really at all, so everything's different. And I've actually found that since everything's opened up, I have gone back to having less peace. And
so interesting.
And I was like, but I've got more now. Like, I've got more of everything now. I've got more freedom, let's say, and like I can go and do what I want and stuff. And that period of lockdown, like, I am so glad that I had it, because what Abby just said about how it taught you less is more, it's so true. Because even just this weekend, I was like, I want that peace that I felt in lockdown again. And all I did was, it was simple. And I was like in my world and in what I was like doing. And so I had a weekend just gone where I like deleted my social media apps for the weekend and hardly went on my phone, and just like went on walks and read and immersed myself in you know, who was it around me, and like myself, and like just being fully present and switching off. And I think that was I think so many people missed that opportunity in that lockdown to actually embrace that and feel that. And now that I felt that, I'm like, I want to make sure that I keep that, because
doing it.
Society's back open now, so it's a lot easier for your peace to start to slip away.
100%.
Just because, you know, people are inviting you out, and you know, we had like no FOMO or anything like that during lockdown. And everyone felt,
you know, it's so true that there has been a real energy shift again, because when everything's opened up, a real energy shift, and the kind of momentum has come back. And, you know, again, I just liken it to my acting industry as well, is that, you know, everybody's back on it again, and everybody's like, right, it's kind of like back to it again energy, which is good energy to be in. But equally, that time that we did have, I had a similar experience. Actually, I went back home for the weekend, and I took my dog for a walk on this walk that I did quite a lot during lockdown. Because during lockdown, I actually was in with my parents, because I didn't want to spend it on my own, in a flat on my own. And I used to take the dog for a walk on this route, and I was walking on the same path, and it kind of all came back to me, that period of time. And I had a moment of reflection. I was like, whoa, like I have achieved a lot has happened. But equally, I was like, that level of calm, I realized I hadn't felt in a long time. And I was like, whoa, okay, you know, again, it's something that I need to make a priority, because I totally felt that during lockdown. It was like, you know, there was no competition, there was no FOMO, like you said, everything stopped, everybody stopped, and everything stopped. So you kind of on the same playing field. And for me as an actress, that was really nice, because it's a constant kind of like battle in the acting industry of like chasing and being like, oh, I have to get this next audition, and I have to do this, and you know, it was just so nice for everybody just to stop and kind of be like, I am not at the bottom of the chain here, we're all at the same level, and start again. And in that starting again, that's obviously where my business was born, and I could put the energy into that. And the same with you. And the same with a lot of people. I think a lot of things were created over lockdown, which is so exciting. Yeah. But for you in your business, what's one thing that you didn't expect from your business?
I didn't expect it to turn into a business, to be honest.
Right.
I didn't. We started it because, like I said before, like this, like all this information and this passion and just of all this valuable finding your feet information was just spilling out. I was like, I need to get this out. I need an outlet for this. So we started it just purely based on that. Let's just share it. Let's, like a hobby. Let's see what happens. No expectation, zero. And so everything has been amazing that's come from it, because it was all unexpected and unplanned.
Great. And this is also why it has done so well. And I can say this about my own business too, because when you set something up that comes from such a pure place of, I'm doing this to help people, I'm doing this because I am passionate about it, because I love it, you will always be successful. You know, if you're kind of creating something from a place of, I'm doing this because I want people to think this, I'm doing this because I need this, it will always kind of crumble at some point. But if you do it from that pure place, and actually this is interesting, because sometimes I have to, you know how you were saying, you know, we have to go back to that moment of calm. Sometimes I have to go back to that level in my own business too, because you hit a point where you're in momentum, you're like this, or I've got this launch coming up, and you know, and you were launching a workshop the other day, and then you just have to sit back and go, hang on a second, why am I doing this again? You know, like, I don't want to get into that routine of oh well, this is a business now, so you know, we're just going to run it like that, and I have to have those moments all the time where I just strip it all the way back again, back to, as you were saying, you know, back to that just simplicity and be like, this is why, I want to help. So there was just no you didn't expect anything from this.
We literally had like different plans for what, like where we saw ourselves perhaps like now. We had different plans that we didn't plan for it to go into a business, but I think when you just align your energy and just follow what you think, you like what you feel you need to do. Like we always said from the start, we just wanted to add value to people's lives. And I really like what you just said there. That is so true, that like sometimes you can get lost in it and think, oh, well, it's a business now, so like how are we going to make money, how are we going to monetize it? But I think you have to come back to like, well, why are we doing this? We're doing this to add value, and then everything else will flow. But you can sometimes lose yourself. I think always coming back to your reason why you're doing it. And then like as well, like when we started, we always had so much fun. So like now we always remember, like if we're stressed about something, we're like, well, let's have fun, let's enjoy it, because that's why we're here.
I totally agree. Do you know, I even had that thought before logging onto this podcast. I thought, oh gosh, I've got a podcast interview, oh, it has to be perfect. And then I thought, Jess, what the hell, like you're gonna have fun with these girls who have amazing energy. It is always so important to check in with yourself in that way, because if you're in that energy, then as you say, if you're aligned in that way, then you're going to create something amazing either way. I admire you both for what you have created. I want to shift the conversation a little bit to chat, because I see on your stories, and this is something I talk about as well, is you have rituals that you abide by. You have strong morning routines I've seen. Can you tell us a little bit about those rituals for you, maybe about your morning routine, and if you do it, do you do these routines together because you are a team, or do you have your separate things? How does it work for you guys?
Yeah, we're obsessed with our rituals. we were just doing loads of them obviously in lockdown, because you just like had loads of time, so you're doing it all. And now obviously where life's basically normal again, they've become like really sacred to us, like because like you can, now that the world's open up again, like what we're saying, the energy's changed, and that level of peace isn't the same as what it was when everyone was at home just doing nothing. So you have to create that level of like peace for yourself, and like realign yourself, and like I think reconnecting to your why, like checking in with your intentions. And you really do need to do that pretty much daily to keep yourself on track, and like keep yourself in a good mindset and focused on the right things. So we have our own like morning routines. They're literally the same, but we obviously don't do them together. But we do a lot of little ritual things together as well. Like we usually will do a nice meditation before we record a podcast, just because it's like, we'll get your energy right. Like, why are you doing this podcast? Like, connect to the people that are going to be listening to it on the other end of the microphone, and like like just tapping into your higher self, because you want to bring your higher self to the show. So we are really strict now with our morning routines, now that like obviously life's back to normal, and people are back on that sort of like 9 to 5 business hours kind of thing. We're very strict with our morning routines, and like get up at like the same time every day, and we will always write what we're grateful for, because I think that is just so important to be focusing on in your life. What's working, what are the blessings that life's giving you now, and our brains are like they're not wired for gratitude. So you have to wire your brain for gratitude, because that will make you happy. Like your brain is like, going back to like caveman times, like the natural function of your brain is to like seek out negativity and potential threat, and like what's not working, so that you can keep yourself safe. And that's all great, because our brain's just trying to like keep us safe. But our caveman brains have not evolved as quickly as we as humans have created all this new way of living,
and now we're in the 21st century, so we don't need it.
Exactly. So things like gratitude, I think everyone needs to be doing them, because you can reshape your brain through neuroplasticity. So and that's what, when you training your brain every morning to like, right, let's think about what's good, let's seek out some gratitude, your brain is going to start doing it more and more by itself, and you're going to feel happier. So we're like really protective of things like that, because if you want to keep your vibe high, like you got to commit to keeping your vibe high.
You totally do. And it's It's funny because when I coach my clients as well, I say to them, listen, it is that commitment, right, to this process, because you could do a ritual once a week and it might make you feel good for that period of time. But if you're not consistently doing it every single day, it won't be changing your brain. It'd just be a nice thing that you do once in a while. And you have to get into the habit as well of just totally embodying this person, being unafraid to be like, do you know what? No, I can't have this phone call right now. I can't do this thing right because I'm doing my ritual. And, my family know that about me. They know that, okay, well, Jess is just doing her ritual. That's her thing, but you have to be strict in that. And people kind of, people that maybe don't do it, that watch you do it, they're also influenced by it, which is a great thing too. But it's so simple just to write a gratitude list in the morning. It's so simple to do.
So we do that first, because I think as soon as you open your eyes, get yourself out of bed, make your bed, get yourself a cup of water or whatever, brush your teeth, and sit down and start thinking, right, I've woken up today, I'm healthy and my eyes are working, I can write with a pen right now, I'm like, I have the opportunity right now to take care of myself and write gratitude. That's something to be grateful for. Like, that's amazing. Not everybody woke up today in perfect health, and maybe you did, so you should feel thankful for that. So we do gratitude first on what we're grateful for now that we have, and then we like to write what we're grateful for that we want for in the future, as if we've got it now in the present moment. As you'll know, manifesting coach, it's powerful to do that, to act as if it's here and embody the feeling now. So we do that, and then we'll just go into a meditation, and tapping into your higher self, realigning your energy. How do you want to feel today? Deciding how you want to feel today, and then reading some personal development book or something in the morning is amazing to fill up your brain with some new information that you've never heard before, and something to take forward into your day. And then we try and do a bit of movement as well in the day, so a walk or some sort of exercise,
really
and look after your body. They're like our
I love that. And it's very similar to, because I've got powerful rituals that I teach to call in certain things within manifestation, but as just a general kind of morning routine, it sounds very similar to how I work too. Movement for me is very important, because I know that whenever my energy is feeling a little bit stagnant, I just have to move the energy around my body. And I literally do that by putting on like a bad bitch tune and just dancing around my room like a mad woman. But just moving your body in any way, like also doing yoga in the morning is lovely. But that movement of energy around the body is important, so that, for me, I kind of do that first thing, so that I can then, when I'm sitting down doing this, doing any kind of journaling or anything, it's coming from a place of the right energy. An energy has moved. And I totally agree with everything that you've said there, and especially with the gratitude, because gratitude is your fast track to abundance as well, because if you can be satisfied with where you are right now, because we are ever expanding, because inevitably we are expanding beings, we are going to want more, and we're allowed to desire more. But if we can be happy and satisfied with what we have right now, we're going to call in more. And it's going to make us feel great. Exactly. It's such an important process. I would love to know from you guys, what's the biggest advice that you would give to anybody right now that's feeling a little bit lost? Because obviously, similar to both of us, we set these things up during lockdown because there was a lot of people feeling lost then. There's still people feeling lost now, and as we say, with that energy shift, there's still that kind of loneliness and everything. What's the advice you give to people feeling lost right now?
I would say just focus on one step each day. So I think as well, maybe if someone is lost and they're listening to this now and they just heard our morning routine, like it can feel a bit overwhelming, like, oh my God, to feel happy and grateful, I need to go up and do all these things. But I think if you are feeling a bit lost, you can get almost lost in that, thinking you're going to feel like that forever. And I think it's just about taking those daily steps each day. Like if you're not feeling good, wake up in the morning and just write one thing you're grateful for, and then the next day after that write two, you know, just like these little baby steps and not overwhelming yourself. And yeah, definitely remind yourself that you're not going to feel lost forever. You can reach out for help, you can reach out to build those connections, because I think that loneliness is definitely something that kind of came at the start of the pandemic, and it's kind of like just kind of stuck with us. Yeah, and it'll become like a pandemic of its own if we're not careful. So I think, yeah, definitely reaching out to people for help and connection, and just doing that like 1% better every single day, even if it's like a walk, go for 2 minutes, not like a whole hour walk. Just push yourself that tiny little bit, and over time that's just going to build up.
Yeah, because one of the things I always say is that baby steps are quantum leaps in disguise, because you do the baby steps every day, and literally before you know it, because whenever I've felt like I've quantum leaped in my life or my career, it's always kind of been like, I look back and I think, how the fuck did that happen? Like, where did that even come from? Like, you know, you look back and you go, you know, and you guys must as well, like where you're at are now, you've got your successful podcast going. And again, none of it was expected or planned, but that's just because of those baby steps. So actually the baby steps are quantum leaps. So that one walk a day, like you say, is a quantum leap in itself. And we've got to view it as that, because it happens so quickly when we just take those steps.
All your little baby steps are compounding up to a big shift. So even when you feel like they're irrelevant and you don't feel any different that day from doing it, it is relevant. It is making an impact, and it does matter, and you need to keep doing it. But I'd also say, if anyone that's feeling lost, we have everything we need within us. It's just about tapping in, developing a relationship with yourself to be able to hear your own inner guidance system, your own intuition, your higher self that's going to help you, guide you to where you need to be. You know, if you're feeling lost because you don't know what you want to do with your life, or you're not happy with where you're living, or you're stuck on what your purpose is or anything, inside of you is the answer. And in our world, it's so hectic and busy, and you know that it's gone back to being like that again now. It's very hard for you to tap in and listen, so you have to carve out that time to do that. And so just start with things like meditation stuff and journaling, and start to develop a relationship with you. Start to get quiet and just listen to your voice within and what you want, and start to develop that relationship with yourself. Start building that self-loving relationship, and then you'll slowly silence the noise of other people, and you'll start listening to yourself. You're feeling lost probably because you're listening to what your parents telling you should do, your friends, what your friends are doing that you feel like you should do, what society is telling you is the right successful thing to do. That's why you feel lost. You actually have the answer within, but get quiet enough to hear it. And it might not come out straight away, but stay on that journey of like connecting to your inner self, and you will hear it. And then when you get those little whispers, that's your intuition telling you what to do. So like with us, like we got a little whisper, start a podcast, like, and we just jumped on it without any thought of what's this about. So just go with the little whispers that you hear, because you won't always know where they're going to lead, and that's not always your job to know where they're going to lead, but you're hearing them for a reason. So like that, you know, and people listening to podcasts probably pretty spiritual because you are into manifesting all of that. So that little whisper as well from your inner guidance system, it's also from the universe. Like you're co-creating your life with the universe. You're never alone. You're never, even though you feel lost, like you're not actually by yourself in this world, even if you might feel like you are. So when you can tap into yourself, and then you're hearing what you've got to say, you get hearing those little messages, whispers from the universe. They're guiding you, and you co-create your life with the guidance of the universe. And that's how you create this big, magical, beautiful, expansive life where you're like, how did this all happen? Or I didn't expect this. And you know, these beautiful things start to come through, and everything comes to support you when you're like on your right path, when you're doing what you're meant to be doing. So following those whispers is to get you to the right path, and then everything 100%. You need to help you will just appear in your life.
No, totally agree. And it's something that I teach, you know, that is a big factor in what I teach, is practicing listening to your intuition, because it is a practice as well, you know, because you have been getting intuitive hits since you were born. Like you have been getting these hits every single day, but whether you can see them and feel them is a different thing, because it's a practice in that intuition and listening to your body and what your body is asking you for in any situation. You know, it's, you know, but mostly if you're making a decision, you know, just to, you know, even the smallest of decisions, like, what am I going to order at this restaurant? Like, you know, even the small, you have an intuitive hit, and all you have to do is just tap into that body and listen to your body. And it's something that, you know, I'm very, very passionate about. And I also run my life and my business around now. So I get to the point where, you know, I have my gorgeous assistant, Frankie, who helps me out. And I'll say to her, yes, we're going to launch this next month. And then I'll tell you, like, a week before, I'll turn around to her and just be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. My intuition is telling me, do not do this right now. And she's like, but we've prepped it all. But she's got to the stage now where, because she's worked with me for nearly a year now, she just knows that is how I work, how I operate, and that it always works out. And, you know, just an example of this, when I launched my last academy, I hadn't planned on launching it. I had planned on taking basically like 4 months off and doing it in January, that, you know, January coming. And I had a really strong hit then. It was like, just do it. It doesn't matter, like, you know, that you've not, you know, mentioned it at all. Just put it out there, because something is telling you to do it. And I literally had full capacity. I had people just signing up without even, like, you know, without even jumping on a call with me, because I listened to that hit. And if I hadn't listened to that hit, I wouldn't be working with the ladies I'm working with now and doing what I'm doing. And it all came from that place.
Yeah.
But again, it is such a practice. It's such a practice. And I get into the habit every day now of waking up and just simply asking myself, where do I want to put my energy today? Where do I want to put my energy today? Because your body will tell you.
Well, it's really powerful. And it's like a process of building that self-trust to, like, trust those intuitive hits. So you can be like, call off launching whatever you were going to launch the week before, because you know that intuition served you before, so you can trust it on those bigger decisions like that. And so for people that are wanting to, like, you know, tap into their intuition, like meditation, things like that, how to get quiet to do it and hear those little whispers, but jump on the small whispers if you're scared to do the bigger ones. You know, you don't need to go and quit your job without any kind of backup plan straight away. Like, start with little things and just see where things can lead you. And then, you know, and what you were saying about how, like, when you wake up and you say, well, where do I want to put my energy today? That's like tapping into your feminine energy as well, which is very intuitive. And, like, you know, our world is hyper masculine, and what was amazing about lockdown was that the masculine energy of the whole collective world just went down, and the feminine energy came up.
Of the feminine,
because, you know, the feminine energy is all about flow and presence and playfulness and being intuitive and empathetic and, you know, just being in the moment, whereas the masculine is, and, you know, they're both amazing energies. We need both of them, but they're often out of balance in our world. And that's why people find it hard to tap into their intuition, because the masculine world is like logic, structure, how steps, what are we going to do, it's you know, and that's great. You need that, like, you know, that in a business you need to have that level of structure, but you also need to make sure you're balancing it out with the feminine energy as well, like, so that that's what's going to make you feel good in yourself. And a lot of people have a misbalance of those energies and then wonder why, you know, they're burnt out and they feel like crap, you know, like it 100% can be a misbalance of that.
And oh gosh, I could literally talk about masculine and feminine energies all day because I've got so much to say on that. You know, but as well, because it has been this rise of the feminine, and we have been living in a mainly masculine orientated society. We do want to remember as well that, as you said before, it has to be a balance, and we've got to heal our relationship with the masculine too, because again, when I always talk about manifestation, a lot of time people think, oh, you know, affirmations, journaling, but manifestation is so much more than that. And just the way I describe it is energy in action. And the energy part really does come from that feminine flow, but the action comes from the masculine. And if we are feeling like, oh no, I should not be sitting too much into my masculine, then we're going to like ruin the relationship with the masculine too. So we want to have like that equal balance of the two and just heal the relationship with the two and move forward with them both. And I'm probably going to do a whole podcast episode on this, but like the way I describe the masculine and the feminine is like a river. So you have the water that is in a river is the flow, and it's really fucking powerful, right? It's a really powerful flow, and that's your feminine, that's guiding you, that's the way that you move. And then, but you can't have that water without the riverbed, and the riverbed is your security, it is actually safety, it is direction, and you need the two in order for the river to go. And so that's like the analogy that I use there.
I love that analogy. We always say that like, especially with the masculine and feminine energy, it's like the more you kind of understand about it and understand about your own intuition, the more you know which one you need to lean into. Like when I first heard the concept, I was like, what the hell? But now I understand it more. I'm like, okay, I can actually feel I'm way too much in my feminine energy or my masculine energy. And I think as well with intuition, I really like what you were saying there, like it's a practice, because like a lot of people, you may mention intuition and they're like, well, how the hell do I know what my intuition is saying? But like, it's not something you wake up one day and do one day and then your intuition speaks to you. It literally is that daily practice, like all the time, like building the trust, like you said. And I think mainly like embodiment, like you said, from your body. So much wisdom comes from your body. I think when we first started kind of like diving into dance and like sensual dance, that's when I feel like I really awakened my intuition, because I feel like your body just holds so much wisdom. Like it's not so much in your mind. It's like if you want to tap into your intuition, it's like really listen to what your body is saying.
It's feeling it in your body 100%. And you know, as well, whenever I go through a period of time when I call it going through like energetic funks, where like I wake up some mornings and I'm like, oh, my energy is off. Like I just ask myself, where in my body am I feeling it? Like, you know, if let's say, for example, you're feeling scared or fear or lonely or sad for whatever reason, where in my body am I feeling it? And then I literally like will touch the place on my body that I'm feeling it, and I'll just allow myself to feel it. I'll just be like, it hurts here, like it's painful here, like, and every time I do that, it goes straight away. It's like again, another mantra I use is the only way out is through. You know, when you feel it in your body and you actually allow yourself to feel it, and you put your hand on the place in your body that you're feeling it and tell yourself the only way out is through, literally you only feel it for about 90 seconds and then it's gone. So again, that's just as well, it's just, you know, beautifully put from what you were saying, is that your body and your mind are so interconnected. And if you have a good relationship between the two of them, you figure so much out about yourself, which is amazing. What's the biggest advice you guys have received?
I think maybe, I mean, it's very generic, but I think it is that like, and we actually did an episode on this the other day, but I actually forgot to mention it in the episode because I was thinking about it. And I remember when I was like really young and I was watching, I think it was like, you know, like the Oscars or something like that, and someone was receiving an award, and then she was saying, oh, the best piece of advice I could possibly give to any of you above everything was to just believe in yourself. And I remember I was like super young and like I didn't really engage in much at the time, like, but I remember her saying those words, just believe in yourself and like you're already there. And I remember it just landed for me, and I've always like just kept that memory in my heart, and I always believe that now, that like as long as you like truly believe in yourself and back yourself, like you can do it. But the minute you like really start doubting yourself and don't believe in yourself, then like you're selling yourself short. And so many people I think give up on their dreams and stuff, just not because they don't think they can't do it, but like they don't believe maybe they're even worthy of it. So I think to fully just like believe in yourself is the main thing.
Yeah, it's key. It's totally key. And what about for you? What's the biggest advice you've
Mine's quite similar, as in something that I remembered when I was young, but actually I think it's so important, and maybe there'll be some people listening out there that have kids or something, I don't know, but like so much of your like belief systems are created that run your life, that live in your subconscious mind, are created like when you're really young, like up until like the age of 8. So when I was younger, my mum always used to tell me, you can do anything you set your mind to. And like obviously my name's Grace, she got me this book called Amazing Grace, and it's like quite a famous like childhood book, and it's about a girl who wanted to be a ballerina, and she believed herself to be a ballerina, whatever. But like her mum and her grandma just always said, Grace, you can do anything you set your mind to. And my mum used to tell me that as well. So when I had an idea and a little ping saying, because our jobs pre this were in fashion, completely different to what we were doing now. Exactly. And And I literally had that little thought when I was out on a walk when they announced like, okay, lockdown's happening, whatever. I thought, well, what do I want to do with my time? I went, I'm going to start a podcast. And then I was just like, asked Abby, I was like, do you fancy it? Like, it was so casual how I was like, do you want to do it? And you're like, yeah, right. Like, but because I believe that I can do anything I set my mind to, there was no hesitation that even though I know nothing about how to start a podcast, that I wouldn't be able to figure out on the way.
I love it.
So, and I think that's with everything in life. Like, no one's actually like, I heard James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, he sends out like a weekly newsletter, and he put this amazing little thought, like he puts like food for thought in it every week. And one of them was like anyone starting something new is not qualified. Like, you only become qualified once you've completed what you're doing. So whatever you're doing, like, you're not qualified yet.
Why?
I
know.
You know
and
what I mean?
Why
like,
do people have this concept that you have to be like the top of your game as a beginner? Like, just be a beginner. Just be a beginner, and just allow yourself to be a beginner. And you know what I love about that that advice that you had is that obviously it came from your mum, and it's just so gorgeous that you had that positive reinforcement as a child that has given you so much inner conviction. I mean, that's amazing. And, you know, like, again, for those that didn't have that positive reinforcement, what I would say is that you create it now. Like, you can positively
be that for yourself.
Exactly. You can be that for yourself. You can be that. But again, I think for me, I have very, very similar advice that I was given, which is now what I teach. But I remember when I was first told it, and it was just simply, all the power you need is found within yourself. It was just that one line. And I went away being like, oh, like I was in a weird mindset at the time, but I slept on it. And I just kept saying it. All the power you need is found within yourself. And that basically created everything for me. But really similar things, because at the end of the day, your self-love, which you guys talk about a lot, is the foundation for your success in every area of your life, in every sense of the word. Ladies, it's been an absolute joy to chat with you. We've nearly been going for an hour now, so I will let you ladies get on with the rest of your day. But before you go, just let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, so obviously our podcast is the Finding Your Feet podcast, and you can get us on all podcast platforms wherever you listen, and on YouTube as well. We put our episodes on there, and our most active social media is Instagram, so come and follow us on there. Our username is just at Find Your Feet podcast, and that's where we are, like, you know, every day sharing something. So that's where you come to connect with us. We love like talking to people on there and like DMs and stuff like that. So that's great. The place to come connect with us. And
fabulous. And I'll put it in the show notes as well, so everybody can find you. But thank you once again, you know, for giving me your time this morning and your energy. And I'm sure I'll be in touch with you very soon. And go and have a gorgeous rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who you think would love it too. And if you want to let me know how you found it, just screenshot this episode, add it to your Instagram story, and tag me at I am Jessica Paul so that I can throw all the love right back at you. And of course, subscribe, hit those 5 stars, and leave a review to show your support and to keep the good stuff coming. Sending you so much love and gratitude from your girl Jess.